Before the truth comes the betrayal. Before betrayal. Stories you will never forget.
The airport glass trembled as the wheels of our flight touched down in London. My hands were still shaking from excitement, or maybe nerves. 12 hours in the air with a restless 4-year-old was exhausting, but the thought of seeing Daniel's face when we showed up unannounced for our 10th anniversary made every moment worth it. "Mommy, will Daddy be surprised?" Emma asked, her voice small and innocent, her curls matted from sleep. I smiled, brushing her cheek with my thumb. "He'll be the happiest man in the world." At least that's what I believed. Daniel had been working in London for 6 months, managing a corporate expansion for his firm. The distance was hard, but he'd assured me this project would secure our future. A promotion, a new home, the life we'd dreamed of. His messages had grown shorter lately, but I'd convinced myself it was just exhaustion. Love needs trust, I reminded myself as I buckled Emma into the cab. The city lights blurred outside the window, raindrops racing each other down the glass. My stomach fluttered with anticipation. I'd spent weeks planning this surprise, booking the flight, coordinating with his coworker Lily to find his schedule. Lily had been kind, sending me Daniel's hotel address and even offering to help decorate the room before he returned from a meeting that evening. Now, as the cab pulled up to the sleek glass building, my heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. We entered the lobby, our suitcases clattering softly against the marble. The receptionist smiled politely when I told her who I was. "Ah yes, Mrs. Carter," she said. "Mr. Carter checked in earlier today. He's in room 804. "He's in?" I asked, surprised. She nodded. "He wasn't supposed to be back yet." My pulse quickened. Maybe this was even better. I could surprise him now. Emma giggled as we stepped into the elevator. "I'll say, surprise, Daddy. Okay?" I laughed softly, though something in my chest felt suddenly tight. The hallway on the 8th floor was quiet, carpeted in deep blue, smelling faintly of lavender and cleaning chemicals. I balanced the cake box in one hand, Emma's little fingers wrapped around the other. My heart was pounding wildly, but not from joy anymore. I stopped outside room 804. From behind the door, faint laughter drifted through, a woman's laughter. Froze. Emma looked up at me. "Mommy!" My throat went dry. Maybe it was the TV. Maybe he was watching something. Maybe. The laughter came again, followed by a low murmur that sent ice crawling through my veins. Daniel's voice. Then the unmistakable sound of a kiss. The cake slipped from my hand, hitting the carpet with a soft thud. For a few seconds I couldn't move. My body felt detached from my mind, like I was standing outside myself, watching this absurd scene unfold. My vision tunneled. I could barely breathe. I bent down, pretending to fix Emma's shoe just so I could think. My fingers were trembling uncontrollably. Well, I couldn't storm in. Not with her here. I forced a smile for Emma. "Sweetheart, let's go downstairs and wait for Daddy to finish his meeting, okay?" She nodded, oblivious. As the elevator doors closed, I caught my reflection, pale, hollow-eyed, shaking. The woman staring back at me looked like a ghost. We sat in the cafe across the street. Emma colored in her little travel notebook while I stirred my coffee, untouched. My hands still smelled faintly of vanilla frosting. Every rational thought in me was at war with emotion. He wouldn't. He couldn't. But the laughter, the kiss, those weren't mistakes. My phone buzzed. "Daniel. Just got out of a late meeting. Miss you and Emma so much today. Can't wait to come home soon." My vision blurred. The message came while he was still in that room. Still with her. An hour passed before I decided. I left Emma with the cafe manager, an older woman with kind eyes, and told her I'd be right back. I don't know what courage possessed me, but I walked back into that hotel, every step heavy, mechanical. At room 804 I hesitated again. I could still hear voices inside, low, intimate. Then I heard her laugh once more. I didn't knock. The door opened with a soft click as I swiped the spare key card Lily had mailed me, just in case. And there it was. Daniel, half-dressed, sitting on the edge of the bed. A woman wrapped in a hotel robe behind him, her hair damp from the shower. Lily. For a moment no one spoke. The world went silent except for the hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of rain outside. Daniel's eyes went wide. Claire. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just stared. I wanted to surprise you, I whispered, voice breaking. For our anniversary. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Lily stepped forward, her expression unreadable, almost defensive. Claire, Don't, I said sharply, holding up my hand. Don't you dare. The next few minutes were a blur of voices, Daniel stammering excuses, me standing there, numb, feeling like I was underwater. He said it was a mistake, that it had been complicated, that he'd been lonely. Words like that float in the air but never land where they matter. Lonely, I said finally, my voice shaking. You weren't alone, Daniel. You had us. You had me. His face twisted, guilt flickering behind his eyes. I didn't mean for this to happen. Neither did I. I walked out before he could say more. My legs felt weak, but I forced them to move. When I got back to the cafe, Emma looked up and smiled. Mommy, did Daddy see the cake? I swallowed hard, my throat aching. Not yet, baby. Not yet. We took the next flight home that night. I watched Emma sleep against my shoulder, her little hand gripping mine, and I realized something. I had spent months missing a version of a man who no longer existed. 3 weeks later, Daniel came back to the States, begging to talk. He showed up at my sister's house, where Emma and I were staying. Claire, please, he said, standing in the doorway, eyes red. It was a mistake. I ended it. I can't lose you both. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to collapse into him and believe it all could just rewind. But the image of that hotel room haunted me. Lily's robe, the guilt in his eyes, the sound of laughter that wasn't mine. You already did, I said quietly. He stepped closer. I love you. I shook my head. You loved who I was when you didn't have to choose between me and your loneliness. He didn't argue. He just stood there defeated. A month later, the divorce papers arrived. I signed them in silence. The night after, I took Emma to the beach near my parents' home. The wind whipped through her hair as she ran toward the waves, her laughter pure and unbroken. I closed my eyes and listened, letting the sound wash over me. I realized healing wasn't about forgetting. It was about reclaiming the parts of myself I had given away piece by piece in the name of trust. I was no longer the woman who flew across the ocean to surprise her husband. I was the woman who flew home carrying the truth and the strength to start again.